For this video, I'm using the LK Chen Shuang Dao. It's based off of the New Way Dao design in an antique pair from the Qing dynasty. You can find out more information at lkchensword.com. Check it out in the link in the description down below. Hey, what's up? It's Sifu Kuttel, and in this video, we're going to be working with the Seung Dao. So grab your swords and get ready. This one's a doozy, so make sure if you have not learned how to wrap the head, if you've not gone over the upward block and techniques video, take a step back, go back to those. There's just some prerequisites that you're going to need to know before we get into this technique, and I would not suggest just jumping in. So essentially what we're going to do is get more comfortable with leading, wrapping the head, and then moving into another technique. And a good way of doing this is to just simply use some techniques that we've done before. So like our upward block and then attacking techniques. So essentially this is still considered within the realm of single sword technique because we're cutting with one sword and then we're going to block with the other and then we're going to follow up with our next technique. But everything's going to begin with this wrapping the head technique. So make sure, go back and work on that. I'll leave a link to that right up above so you know where to go. And when you're ready, come back. And if you are ready right now, grab your swords. Let's go do this. All right, so again, I cannot stress this enough. This is a follow-up and a more advanced way of doing some of the techniques that we've worked on before, where we've used an upward block and any kind of a follow-up attack. I encourage you to go back over those videos. Make sure you train those very well because we're adding in a complicated technique to start this. So those techniques are going to be the same. It's just how we start it that's going to be different. And we're going to use a wrapping the head technique. So to really break it down, make it very simple, we're going to make our front blade horizontal. Back blade is going to cut, wrap the head, rest on the shoulder. Okay? So again, horizontal, cut, and then we're going to wrap the head. Again, from here, all the way around, making sure we touch the spine of the sword to our back. And then resting here is a good position. It's not going to work for every single technique we're going to do, including the very first, but it is a good way to be prepared for this. So even if you just want to practice right here, just cutting, going around the head, cutting, going around the head, over the other arm, this is a good way to be prepared for this technique. Our first one, we're going to end up with our upward block and our forward thrust, just like we did before. So it's just that we're going to flatten, cut around the head, drop, block, and thrust. So again, 1, 2. Again, 1, 2. For our next technique, we have two versions that we're going to do. We're going to be using a horizontal inward cut. And we can either follow up with keeping the same foot forward or we can step into it. But again, to break it down, flatten, cut, go around the head, and then now we'll go underneath the blade. So we raise up, and then we'll cut across, flip the blade again, and rest it on the ribs. Okay? So nice and simple, we have cut 1, raise, cut 2. This is a nice way of practicing, working at different heights, above and below your front weapon. So again, 1 around the body, 2. Now, instead of keeping this foot forward as we cut, we can take a step forward and cut all the way through. Same end position, we're going to rest it on the ribs, okay? So we cut, flip the blade over, and rest, okay? Again from here, from our neutral position, flatten the blade, cut, around the head, step, and finish with our cut. Again, cut, around the head, cut. Again, cut, around the head, cut. For our next technique, we are going to apply the same idea of going over and then under our blade, but we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to really drop down low and attack inward towards the leg. Now, the thing about this one is we are not going to let the blade flip over afterwards. So we're going to end with the tip of the blade pointing forward, hand is past our body. So from our first initial position, I cut, wrap the head, raise, drop, and then finish right here. Okay, so again right here, blade comes down, cut, around the head, up, knee, or the shin. You can cut all the way through. Again, drop, 1, 2. Again, 1, 2. And our last one, 1, 2. For our final technique, we're going to change our planes of motion with our cutting sword. So this one is definitely a little bit more difficult, but not impossible. Okay, so make sure you work on the rest first. Get real comfortable. We're going to be following our first cut with an upward cut at the end. So our cutting sword has gone now horizontal and it's going to change the path to vertical. Keep everything in mind. You want to make sure that the pommel is always higher than the tip of the sword, so you should have a slight downward angle, and don't loosen your grip just to make a nice position. This will be a little bit more diagonal rather than trying to go straight up and down and then letting go with half your fingers, okay? From this position, same things apply. We flatten the blade, cut 1, bring it back, raise, scoop, okay? Again, cut 1, back, scoop. And again, cut, scoop. And for our last one, cut, scoop. All right, so there you have it. Not only have we implemented wrapping the head with this, but we've also done a number of techniques to follow up. And this is a good way to explore the versatility of techniques with the double broadswords, as well as kind of get a little more comfort in the realm of using one to wrap the head and then move into something else. This is still basic steps. We're still technically in the fundamentals of Seung Dao right now because it is a very difficult weapon to master. So a lot of these techniques are to build up and develop that familiarity with the weapon, to maneuver and work your way around the weapon, and then putting them into place in combat where it's more of a principle and tactic based weapon once you get in there. But these are the foundations of it. Being able just to move one over your head and then use the other to clear is actually quite simple. So practice this one, and of course practice it with both hands. Practice this on both sides. You need to be able to wrap the head on both sides. As you do this, you need to be able to adapt and use another technique. Even if your plan in combat is to specifically have a dominant hand for attack and then your non-dominant hand for positioning and redirecting and blocking. So do work on both sides because we are going to take it a step further with a double wrapping the head technique. Practice this one up. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this video and I'll see you in the next.